Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being a part of this webinar. I would now introduce you to our guest, Mr. Chandrahas Halai, sir. He is the owner at Mahindra Sanak and a mechanical and industrial engineering consultant. He has also published various articles on Vedic mathematics. Chandrahas, sir, we YuvaLeads welcome you. Sir,
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I hope my voice is loud and clear and my video
Yes, sir.
is clear. Yeah, thank you.
So do you wish to wait for few participants more or you need to start?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Let's start with the journey. Let me start with a small story about the invention of chess and Indian mathematics. Just a second. Share my screen. Almost everyone knows that chess was invented in India. There is a very popular
Can't hear you, sir.
Just a second. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Who had the problem? Okay. Can everyone hear me loud and clear?
Ore, Chandrahas bhai, ताके सुनाइला अच्छे ना तो आके.
Hello. Yeah. Everyone else, can you hear me?
हाँ जो आवाज जरूर ना है.
Yes, sir.
There must be. You can hear me, Snehal. How about others?
Yes, yeah. I can hear.
I think so. Then there must be a problem with that specific gentleman. Yeah. Okay. So let's begin our journey. Almost everyone knows that chess was invented in India, and there is a very popular story associated with the invention of chess. This is a folklore. Let's begin with this story. This story is at least 1500 years old. There was a rishi who had invented this game of chess, known as the game of war. He gifted it to a king. Now, this game was Chaturang. In Sanskrit, we call chess Chaturang, after Chaturangi Sena. Nowadays, we are seeing the reruns of serials like Ramayana and Mahabharata. And in Mahabharata, we are looking at the war scenario where we say we have a Chaturangi Sena, where a king says he has got a Chaturangi Sena. Now, what is the meaning of a Chaturangi Sena? It means that the army has all the 4 units, that is infantry, cavalry, chariot, Maharathi, warriors who fight on a chariot, and of course the elephant, the war elephant. The king was very happy. He was very extremely delighted to receive this game of war. And he asked the sage for any gift he wanted. Told the sage that I am very happy, you can ask for anything you want. The sage, he asked the king, I don't want much, just give me some few grains of wheat. You take my chessboard. The first square, you put 1 grain. In the second square, you put 2 grains. In the third, 4. In the fourth, 8. Go on doubling the number of grains in each successive square till you reach the last square, that is the 64th square of 8 by 8, that is 64 square chessboard. See the chessboard. 1, 2, 4, 8. Doubling the number of grains in every successive square of the chessboard. King smiled that the sages asked for a very simple and a little gift, a very small and cheap. When the sage could have asked for any expensive or a precious gift. So the king's men started picking up the squares of the chessboard. The king and his men soon realized that the annual grain production of Bharatvarsh, then undivided India, wouldn't have satisfied the sage's demand. Actually, the amount of heat that is required to fulfill sage's demand or the rishi's demand is much more than the entire world's wheat production for 2000 years. Now the king was horrified that he would not be able to honor his word. Vachan diya, he would not be able to fulfill the promise he has given to the sage. But the kind sage forgave the king. The king was relieved. The king told the sage that he is now even more delighted by the sage's mathematical trick than the game he had gifted him. I hope everyone is able to look at the screen. Hello?
We can.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. I'll move ahead. Now, this story is very popular across the world since many centuries. When Nobel laureate physicist George Gamow had written about it in his book 1, 2, 3 Infinity. Now, this book 1, 2, 3 Infinity is a very popular book, a bestseller. George Gamow begins his book with this popular story. How much do you think is the total number of grains demanded by the sage from the king? It is this 20-digit number. Is this 20-digit number? Now you must be wondering how I must have arrived at the correct answer. Now it is thanks to ancient Indian mathematics. Let us look at this ancient Indian mathematics. Here the number of grains in each successive squares are doubled. That is, the common ratio amongst the number of grains in successive squares is 2. Such sequences of numbers which bear a common ratio amongst successive terms are called geometric progression. So, if you want to find the next number in the sequence, you have to kind of multiply the current number by that fixed ratio. Rather, two successive terms have a fixed ratio. And this sequence is called geometric progression. Ancient Indian mathematicians had a fascination for huge numbers, large numbers. And we had names for powers of 10 to 10 raised to 60. And we say the Buddhist mathematician, Buddha, had given a name for 10 raised to 160. The first mathematician to give the formula for the sum of numbers in a geometric progression was a Digambar Jain monk, Mahaviracharya. He has written about it in his book Ganit Sar Sangraha, written around 850. And then later on, Bhaskaracharya had written about it in his famous book Leelavati around 1150 AD. Let us derive the formula. Let A be the first term in the series. R be the common ratio amongst the successive terms, and be the number of terms in the series. And let S be the number, be the sum of the series. So we have S equals to A plus AR plus AR square, and so on up to the last term in the series. Now let us multiply both the sides of this equation by R. Get this equation number 2. Let us subtract equation 1, the first equation, from the second equation. We get this relation. Ultimately, we get this formula that the sum is equals to A times R raised to n minus 1 divided by R minus 1. So we got this formula for the sum of terms in a geometric progression. In our current chess problem, please begin with number 1. That is, we had one grain in the first square. Now the common ratio is 2, and the number of terms are 64. We get this S equals to 2 raised to 64 minus 1. That is how I get this answer. The exact number of grains, and we know this is a 20-digit huge number. Even Bhaskaracharya has derived this formula in his book Leelavati. He has given one interesting problem in his book Leelavati. A gentleman gave 2 kodis. Now, kodi, they were the currencies prevalent during Bhaskaracharya's time. You must have heard this dialogue many a times in Bollywood movies. Kodiyon ke daam bikta hai. Means it is selling dirt cheap. What are kodi? Kodi are nothing but seashells. Ancient times, seashells were also used as currency or tokens. A gentleman gave 2 kodis in charity the first day, and thereafter he gave every day twice of what he gave the previous day. So how many nish did he give away in 1 month? I'm giving here the conversion rate for the currencies prevalent at Bhaskaracharya's time. Kodis, shells, and nish were the prevalent currencies during the time of Bhaskaracharya. This is that currency or conversion table for the currencies. 20 kodis is 1 kaki. 50 kakinis are equal to 1 pan or kashar pan or copper pan. 16 copper pan give you 1 drum. A drum used to be silver. So you get for every 16 copper coins, you have got 1 silver coin. 16 silver coins used to give you 1 nish. And sometimes the nish used to be minted in gold. So 1280 kodis, they give you 1 silver drum. When we use the formula, this is the answer we get. Now, here you can see there is the number of grains every subsequent square are increasing exponentially. We say that it is growing exponentially. And in today's time of corona pandemic, we say that infection is increasing exponentially. Can kind of model spread of infection using this geometric series or exponential functions. You can say that the first person to be infected goes out and infects 2 people. Those 2 people go out and each of them infect 2 other people. So 2 of them infect 4 people. 4 of them go out and infect 2 each. That is 8. So you can see that the infection spreads exponentially, and in few days time or few weeks time, a large populace becomes infected. And that is why we have this lockdown to basically curtail that spread of infection. Of course, the mathematics of spread of infection is not so simple, but this is a kind of a basic, simple representation of spread of infection. Yeah. So I will end this part of our talk today. Go to the next part. This part I will end with a quote by a Swiss American historian of mathematics, Cajori. What did Cajori say? The Hindus solved problems and interest, that is simple and compound interest, discount, partnership, allegation, summation of arithmetical and geometric series, the one we saw now, and devise rules for determining the numbers of combinations and permutations. It may here be added that chess, the profoundest of all games, had its origins in India. Now, this is ancient mathematics. I will take you to something more modern and slightly interactive. Now, how many of you know about operator? Has anyone heard about operator? Okay. Let's begin something interactive. If you have paper and pen nearby, you can try out this. I was born in the year 1971. Let's play around with this number. So what I will do is, I'll arrange this number 1971 in descending order and ascending order. So subtract the number that I have derived using ascending order from the number I have arrived at by arranging the digits in descending order. So 9711 minus 1179 gives me 8532. So I get this result 8532. Now again I do the same operation that I recently did. So I arrange 8532 in descending order and I arrange the digits in 8532 in ascending order and subtract it. So I get 6174. I'll arrange the digits in 6174 in descending order and ascending order and subtract them. So again I get this 617. Let's try this operation on another number. So our country gained independence in 1947. We'll try this operation on this number 1947. I'll arrange this in descending order and ascending order and subtract them. This is what I get. So I'll go on repeating this process. And I see that the end again I am getting this number 6174. If I arrange the digits in 6174, descending order and ascending order and subtract them, I'll still get 617. So 6174 seems to be some kind of a spatial number. Let us look at spatiality of it. If you do these operations on any 4-digit number in which all the digits are not the same, hence all the digits in a 4-digit number should not be same, like 2222. It can be 2221 or 1112, but all the digits can't be same. A 4-digit number consisting at least 2 different digits. Then you will get the result 6174, not more than 7 steps. Would you like to try it out on your own? Take any 4-digit number where all the digits are not the same. Arrange them in descending order, ascending order, subtract them, and do it repeatedly. You will always end up with 617. Okay, let's have some 3-4 minutes time, and you can try out this thing and confirm whether you are still getting the same answer that I got. Yeah, have you tried it out? Shall we move ahead, or shall I give you some time? Sure. Okay, Mr. Amit has messaged me that it is working for him. Good. How about others? People can message me. Mr. Jagdish has also messaged me that it is working for him. Okay, I think we will move ahead. Uh, People can try it out later. This amazing discovery was made by Indian mathematician Sri Dattatray Ramchandra Kaparekar in the year 1949. In honor of Sri Kaparekar, the number 6174, honor of Sri Kaparekar, the number 6174 is called the Kaparakar's constant. The above procedure, the process we did is called Kaparakar's operations. Let us know more about Kaparekar. Now, Kaparekar was a mathematics teacher in a school at Burlali, near Nasik, from 1930 to 1962. Number theory was his favorite subject, and due to his passion for mathematics, he was called Ganitanand. He was called Ganitanand Kaparekar because he loved mathematics. He derived happiness by doing mathematics. Kaparekar ji had made many amazing discoveries in number theory, but unfortunately, his work was initially ignored by Indian mathematics. I don't know how many of you know about Martin Gardner, but Martin Gardner is a very famous recreational mathematician, and he used to write a very popular column in on recreational mathematics in the magazine Scientific American. So in 1975, he wrote an article on Kaparakar's constant in his column in Scientific American. This made Kaparekar and his work world famous. And Japanese mathematicians especially took a fancy for Kaparakar's work, and since that day, they have been doing a lot of research on Kaparakar's work. But unfortunately, many of us Indians just ignore his work, or we are not made him famous, or we don't give him the credit that he deserves. And he is as great a mathematician as Ramanujan. Yet very few people have heard about it. Few months back, I think so it was month of February, first week of February, I was as a good fortune, I got to meet Kaprekar's granddaughter, and she is also a mathematics teacher in college in Chembur in Mumbai. So let's try out Kaprekar's operation on one more number, that is 3133. Can try it out and then we can move ahead. So when we try out this Kaprekar's operation on 3133, again we get 617. You must be wondering, can we get Kaprekar's constant on, say, let us say 3-digit number? Like take any 3-digit number like say 197, arrange it in descending order, ascending order, subtract it, and repeat, do the same operations on a 3-digit number that we did on a 4-digit number. So we still get a number that is similar to 4-digit Kaprekar constant. Yes, actually, this thing also works on a 3-digit number, and the 3-digit Kaprekar's constant is 495. When you kind of apply Kaprekar's operations on a 3-digit number where all the digits are not the same, you get Kaprekar's constant 495. The 3-digit Kaprekar's constant is 495. This is the list of my publications. I'm blogging on a website. Some other websites are also hosting my articles. You can put a tab on this links, and will be updated about my new articles. I can show you that later on after our other parts of our today's talk. Now, any part of India you go, you can see beautiful ancient temples with intricate, sophisticated designs. Let's begin with the sacred geometry of temples. Now, before going for the architecture of temples, share my experience that is relevant to the topic. Some 15 years back, I'd been to KK Wagh Engineering College in Nashik. There, Professor Harish Kulkarni, he did his PhD. He was doing research in laser optics, and he showed us a 3D holographic project. A hologram is produced on a high resolution photographic plate using monochromatic. Monochromatic means a single color laser and optics. Here you are using a beam splitter, that too without using any camera. 3D holographic projection. Holographic image is captured on a photographic film, and that too without using a camera. What you are using is just laser and beam splitter. A 3D hologram, a 3-dimensional holographic image of the same is then projected using the film and monochromatic laser. So we had captured the image of a Ganesh Murti. Now, even if we cut that photographic film into 4 pieces, we can still project the same 3D image in any of the 4 pieces. Now I can still, I've got 4 pieces, I can still cut them into smaller pieces. And each smaller piece will still give me the same 3D image. Here each fragment contains the information of the whole. Now, basically a hologram actually stores the interference pattern of the laser light reflected from the object. Why I am describing holography here will become soon clear, become clear soon. Now we will begin our talk with the Purnam Shanti. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Purnam Shanti mantra is from the Ishavashya Upanishad. Supreme being, Paramatma, is Purna. Our Atma is derived from this Supreme being. Hence, our Atma is also Purna and has the same characteristics as those of the Paramatma. Our Atma is a replica of the Paramatma. Supreme being is Anant, infinite. Hence, when we take a small fragment out of it, it still remains Purna. According to ancient Hindu Sankhya Darshan Shastra, cosmos is holonomic. It means that the structure of the cosmos replicates itself, since it is self-similar at ever-decreasing scales. Like a hologram, each fragment of the cosmos is complete, Purna in itself, and contains the information of the whole. Now the entire cosmos, Brahmand, can be visualized in a microscopic capsule called the Pind Brahmand. Kan mein bhi Brahmand ke darshan. Now, you must have realized the parallels between modern physics and ancient Hindu philosophy. Now, if you want to learn more about the connections between modern physics and ancient Hindu philosophy, I can recommend you the book Dancing Woolly Masters by Gary Zukav. And of course, you have the Tao of Physics by Fritjof Capra. And there is a book by Indian sage Swami Jijatmanand, Modern Physics and Vedanta. Swami Jijatmanand has actually written 2 books on this topic. I don't recollect the name of the other book. One is definitely this Modern Physics and Vedanta. Swami Jijatmanand is expert in quantum physics. Ancient Indian Rishi, our ancient Indian Rishi, had laid down the basic rules or canons for art and architecture. He had said that all the man-made objects or structures should maintain harmony with the cosmos. In accordance with this, 2 temples, which are symbolic representations of the models of the cosmos. A small part of temple should be a replica or should be self-similar of the whole. Vastu Shastra had laid down the rules and procedures for preparing the designs or layout of the temples. Raja Bhoj of Malwa in 11th century AD had written a book, Samrangad Sutra. In this book, he had written about how to design palace, temples, town planning. He had also given instructions to the site supervisor like how to prepare line drawings, how to then we are given all the instructions how to kind of design and manufacture construction machinery. Ancient Indian engineers or Vastukars were expert geometrians. They had used their skills in creating detailed layouts of the temples and how to go about building them. Now, let us undertake one activity to understand the kind of geometry that is utilized in preparing the layouts of the temples. So, first, start with a basic equilateral triangle. Now, join the midpoints of all the three sides of the triangle. Now, remove the central triangle. Now, get three new triangles, join their midpoints, remove their central triangles. Now we get 9 new triangles, join their midpoints, remove the new central triangles. This is what we get. Repeat this step time and again. Means you are undergoing a recursive process. Each new step is based on the previous step. And your design is evolving into a more complex, sophisticated design. Every part of this complex figure we just created is a replica of the whole. This design evolves with the execution of each step. Now, this pattern is called the Sierpinski's cluster or Sierpinski's triangle. Now, the geometry of self-replicating shapes is known as fractal geometry. Nature abounds with things having such shapes. They can be found in the clouds, coastline. Talking about coastline, India has a huge coastline, beginning from the Gulf of Cambay to Bay of Bengal, or rather West Bengal. We have a huge coastline, and I don't know how many of you know which is the state having the longest coastline. Well, it is Gujarat. Yeah, Mr. Lalit is right. It is Gujarat. And the second is Tamil Nadu. Yeah, Mr. Nitish is also right. It is Gujarat. Because if you look at the coastline of Gujarat, it is fractal in nature. Clouds, coastline, river deltas, lightning, icicle formation, mountain ranges, heaps of fern, cyclones, hurricanes, and much more. Now look, let us look at one more example of fractal geometry. Take a regular square, divide it into 9 equal squares, remove the central square. Repeat the procedure with the new squares. What is that? Now let us look at the animated here how you can get a Sierpinski's curve pattern. This is known as Sierpinski's curve pattern. Now this is known as the coach curve. You can see that the shapes are self-similar or self-replicating shapes, and also the steps involved in creating this design are recursive. The post crystals occurring naturally on cold glass form fractal patterns. Now, if you take a block of acrylic and apply huge voltage across the two ends of that acrylic block, you get this kind of a pattern that you see during the lightning when the lightning occurs. Basically, this is known the Lichtenberg figure. The material fails when you apply a really high voltage. This is something similar to a kind of cauliflower, a 3D flower generated on computer. The word fractal geometry was coined by Henry Mandelbrot. Now we have the term fractalization. Fractal means broken, geometry of broken shapes or self-similar shapes. It was a Polish-born French-American mathematician. He used to work for IBM during the 60s, where he did a formal and comprehensive study of the geometry of self-similar, self-replicating shapes. And he used computer software to create images having fractal geometry. In India, fractal geometry has been implemented in art and architecture since last 1700 years. Fractal geometry has been used to create detailed layouts of temples. Now, the design of each and every part or element of temple structure was made using fractal geometry. Let us look at some of the examples. The design of the shikhar or spire of the Kandarya Mahadev temple at Khajuraho, built during the 11th century AD, has been created using fractal geometry. Now, you must have seen the shikhar of some huge ancient temples. They are not simple arches or simple domes. They are very intricate in design. You have a main shikhar. Now, that main shikhar is surrounded by smaller replicas. But the smaller shikhars are in turn surrounded by still smaller replicas, and this pattern is repeated at decreasing scales, but the ratios and proportions are maintained at the decreasing scales. Now, this is the picture that I clicked of the Kandarya Mahadev temple. You can see the spire in Chitra surrounded by smaller replicas. There were big Chitra, the smaller ones, and the smaller ones surrounded by still smaller Chitra. From a different point of view, perspective, Kandarya Mahadev temple. Even the stairs of a water tank. Now, go to any ancient temple. At the entrance, you had a water tank or a kund to have the ritual bath and purify your body and soul before entering the temple. Now, the staircases of the water tank of the temples were designed using fractal patterns. You can find a pattern similar to the circumstance gasket we had created. The staircase of the water tank of the Surya Mandir at Modhera in Gujarat. Now, Surya Mandir at Modhera was built around 1000 years ago. When Kandarya Mahadev temple at Khajuraho was constructed around 1000 years back. This is the point. You can see that this is something similar to your sequence triangle. Yeah, this is the Natyagraha Sabha of the Surya Mandir at Modhera. See the pattern of the staircases. Also, the hall or the Natya Sabha is not a simple square or rectangle. These are created using recursive design or fractalization, broken or jagged edges. So this is the Ambarnath Shivalaya. This was constructed around 1000 years back at Ambarnath near Mumbai. You can see the edges are not like they are not straight lines; they are jagged or fractalization is used in design. The rest of the world has been using fractal geometry since last 50 years, whereas it has been used extensively in art and architecture in India since last 17 years. Now we have gone from say sum of geometric progression, sum of terms in geometric progression in the ancient time. Geometry that is used in architecture of Indian temples. We will look at some interesting problems in Bhaskaracharya's Leela. Let me begin with an interesting problem from Bhaskaracharya's Leela. Lord Shiva, Mahadev, holds 10 different weapons in his 10 hands. Lord Shiva, Mahadev, has 5 heads, and so it is presumed that he has 10 arms and he is holding this 10 ayod or weapons. Find the number of different Shiva idols. Similarly, solve the problem for Vishnu idols. Lord Vishnu has 4 objects. You know that Narayan, Vasudeva, has 4 arms and he holds 4 ayod or 4 objects. Shankh, Padma, Gada and Chakra. Now this problem is from Bhaskaracharya, Bhaskara 2. Bhaskaracharya's book Leelavati. Bhaskaracharya had composed this book around 1150 to teach mathematics to his daughter Leelavati, after whom he named the book. Now Leelavati is written entirely in verse, not poetic in verse. It is entirely a proof. Now it covers topics ranging from arithmetic, algebra, geometry, mensuration, combinatorics. We will be looking at this topic of combinatorics on Bhaskaracharya's number theory and other basic topics. This book was used as a standard textbook for almost 700 years. It was used as a textbook for 700 years in almost all the Gurukulam or all the Gurukuls of every village in India. It was discontinued after Macaulay's education system replaced traditional Indian education. Now we will look at some basic concepts that we can solve the problem we consider. Now let us say we have only 2 objects, A and B. How can I arrange them? I can arrange them. I can begin with A in the first position. Then for the second position, I have only one choice, that is B. If I begin with B in the first position, then for the second position, I have only one choice. So I have 2 arrangements, AB and EA. Now, I have 3 objects, let us say A, B and C. So for the first position, I can have 3 choices, A, B, C. For A in the first position, I can have 2 choices in the second position, that is B and C. And for the same case, in the third position, I can have only one choice. So, my different arrangements for 3 objects will be ABC, ACB, AC, CA, CAB, CBA. That means for the first position, I have got 3 choices. For the second position, in each case, I have got 2 choices. And for third position, each case, I have only one choice. 3 times 2 times 1 gives me 6. So I have got 6 different arrangements for 3 objects. Now let us consider the case when I have 4 objects, that is A, B, C and D. The first position, I have got 4 choices. The second position, each case I got 3. For the third position, 2 choices. And for the last, that is the fourth position, I have got only one choice. So I have got a 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, that is 24 24 different arrangements for 4 objects. So, see a pattern which we call fundamental counting principle. In general, if I've got n objects, they can be arranged in n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 and so on up to 3 times 2 times 1. And you will write it in a convenient way, that is n factorial ways. 4 factorial gives us 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, that is 24 ways. And 6 factorial, that is if I want to arrange 6 objects, I can arrange them in 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Or rather, I can say 6 times 5 times 4 factorial, that is 740. Sorry, 720. Coming back to our original problem, Mahadev holds a weapon in each of his 10 arms. Now, these 10 weapons can be arranged in 10 factorial ways, that is 36,28,800 different ways. Now, it is not humanly possible to create so many forms of Lord Shiva. Whereas Lord Vishnu holds a mace, a disc, lotus, and a conch in his 4 arms, that is Padma, Gada, and Chakra. They can be arranged in 4 factorial ways, that is 24 different ways. There are 24 different forms of Lord Vishnu with 24 names. The sculptures of all the 24 forms of Lord Vishnu look alike. They differ only in the position of the 4 ayodhas, each of his arms. Now, each arrangement has a unique name. This group of 24 names is collectively called Chaturvimshati Keshavna. Chatur means 4. Vimshati means 20. Chaturvimshati Keshavna. Though there are infinite names of Lord Narayana, Vishnu, Vasudeva, this group of 24 names has a special significance because they are recited at the beginning of Sandhya Vandana. I am giving you the list of all the 24 names and the order of ayodhya in Narayan's names. So the names are Kesav, Narayan, Madhav, Govind, Vishnu, Madhusudan, Trivikram, Vaman, Rishikesh, Padmanabh, Damodar, Karshana, Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Anirudh, Uttam, Madhogya, Adhokshat, Narasimha, Achyut, Janardhan, Upendra, Hari, Krishna. Now, the new 100-rupee note has a picture of Rani Ki Vav. Look at the new 100-rupee note. There is a picture of Rani Ki Vav, the Queen's Cathedral, built during the end of the 11th century, built almost 1000 years back at Patan in Gujarat. 15 of these 24 forms of Lord Vishnu are represented in beautiful sculptures. Here, some forms have more than one sculpture. I'll show you the pictures of those sculptures and pictures of Rani Ki Vav. The Venkateshwara temple, built almost 100 years back at Manaswadi in Girgam, Mumbai, there are sculptures of all the 24 forms of Lord Vishnu. This temple is locally known as the Balaji temple. Now, this is the majestic Rani Ki Vav, underground structure. On the other side, here you can see the shaft of the well. These are the sculptures of Lord Vishnu or Narayan. You can see the Ayodhya stands, Sudarshan Chakra, Gada, and the lotus. Harsh, do we have time? Can we continue for 5 minutes?
Hello? Yes, sir. If you want to continue, we have time.
Yeah, okay. We'll continue for 5 more minutes.
No problem, sir. We have enough time. We have slotted the meeting in such a way that if there is an extension, there will not be a problem.
Okay, okay. Then I'll continue for 6 more minutes.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Participants don't have a problem.
Sir, I am sure they don't have a problem. They want to know more, in fact.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. How many? Oh, thank you. How many kinds of relishes can be made by using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 types from a sweet? Sorry. Now you have got 6 basic substances. Like let us say they are sweet in taste, bitter, pungent, sour, salty, and hot. So you have 6 basic substances which are sweet, bitter, astringent, sour, salty, and hot in taste. So if you have different combinations of all these 6 substances, then how many relishes or how many flavors can you make out of them? Now, the number of permutations of n objects taken r at a time is given by this formula, that is n factorial divided by n minus r factorial. Of permutation of 7 objects taken 3 at a time is 205. Now, permutation means the order in which they are arranged is also important. Now, combination, where the order of arrangement is not of significance. So, when you are mixing, let us say, 2 or 3 substances, the order of arrangement is not important. Only the combination is important. So, the number of combinations of n objects taken r at a time is given by this formula, n factorial divided by n minus r factorial times r factorial. So, combinations of 7 objects taken 3 at a time is 35. Number of different relishes. So, let us say I've got 6 basic taste or substances. I don't take any of them. I don't get kind of what do you say? Don't put any of those substances on my pizza or sandwich. So I wanted plain, bland. So that can be done in one way. I don't take any of those masalas. That is one way I can do it. Now, I take only one of the 6 substances. Now, that can be done in 6 different ways. Okay. I take all the 6 at once. That can be done in one way. Or out of the 6, I omit one of them. I take only 5 out of 6. That can be done in 6 different ways. Now, I take any of the 6. Now, that can be done in 15 different ways. Or let us say I take 4 out of 6. Take 4 out of 6. That can be done in 15 ways. I take only 3 out of 6. Any 3 out of 6. That can be done in 20 ways. So the total comes to 2 raised to 6. That is 64 different ways. From 6 basic substances, I can create 64 different flavors of taste. This is what we learned in this lesson is the mathematics of arrangement and combination or permutations and combinations. This is known as the mathematics of combinatorics. Of course, we have taken these examples from Bhaskaracharya's Leelavati, but he was not the first mathematician to do extensive study of combinatorics. The study of combinatorics is much older. Charak and Susrut. Charak and Susrut, they had done extensive study of combinations. Cherak was a physician, a doctor, and Sushrut was a surgeon. So in Sushrut Samhita, he has given a similar problem. Here Bhaskaracharya is talking about flavors, whereas in Sushrut Samhita, Sushrut is talking about ras, which are having different taste. So if you are like in Ayurveda, we talk about Vak, Pitta, or combinations of Vak, Pitta, and Kapha, or their intensity, varying intensities of all these three doshas. So physicians would recommend combinations of the 6 basic ras. So Sushrut Samhita was composed in 6th century BC, almost 17 to 1800 years before Bhaskaracharya's Leela. So mathematics of combinatorics is very ancient in India. So instead of taking this example, I will talk about now in this times of lockdown, we are physically separated. We are physically separated, but digitally connected. 20 years back, no one would have kind of imagined that we will be connected to people across the globe and delivering lectures on internet. So we are physically separated, but digitally connected. Now, what is the basic principle on which digital technologies work? Yeah, anyone? What is the basic fundamental concept on which digital technology or computer technology works? Yeah, anyone? You can message me. Yeah, binary number system. Now, who gave us the binary number system? Anyone? Who was the first person to give binary number system? The Europeans, the Europeans used to feel that Leibniz, who was inventor of calculus, other Indians invented calculus much before Leibniz and Newton. Leibniz created binary number system. No, it was our ancient Indian prosodist, Pingala. Now, Pingala, while doing mathematical analysis of poetic meters, he created the binary number system. Rather, doing combinatorial sequence generation of Laghu and Guru Swar, he created the binary number system. So, in mathematics, advanced mathematics, while doing binomial expansion or even in combinatorics, now this 1, 6, 15, 20, these are all binomial coefficients, or we are doing the process of binomial expansion. So, Pascal's triangle gives us this binomial coefficients for a plus b the whole raised to n. But 1700 years before Pascal, it was Pingala who created Meru Prastha, or what we call today's date Pascal's triangle. But it was actually Pingala who created combinatorial sequence and Pascal's triangle, what we call Meru Prastha. In Bhaskaracharya's Leelavati, Bhaskaracharya calls it Khandameru. And everyone, I presume, has heard about Fibonacci numbers. Has anyone, I think, of course, rarely anyone has not heard about Fibonacci numbers, but it is not actually Fibonacci. It is actually Pingar who created Matra Meru. Fibonacci, during the 12th century, he spent his childhood and youth days in North Africa, where he learned Indian mathematics other the decimal number system, uh, algebra, Indian mathematics from Arab traders. The Arabs had learned it from Indians, took it across the globe, they taught it to the Europeans. So Fibonacci learned Indian mathematics from Arab traders. And when he returned back to Pisa in Italy, he wrote a book, Liber Abbasi. Means how to count and do mathematics using Indian numbers or Hindu numbers. They used to call it Hindu numbers. And in this book, he has written about Fibonacci. They are actually fingers matra. Indian mathematics, Europeans learned about how to count from Fibonacci's Liber Abbasi, the 12th century, 13th century. And we used to do amazing mathematics millenniums before that. So we will have to end our journey of Indian mathematics here. Can we have some questions, some 2-3 minutes of question answer or discussion? Harsh? Nehal?
Yes, sir. They can ask you questions.
Okay. People can type in their queries. I will use this time. There is a website, Indic Today. On Indic Today, there is a collection of my articles, all kinds of articles. And Africa's constant. Then you have, here is my blog. You can follow my blog. Yeah, history of, can you, I'll just, how do you see this chat? Just, someone was asking about integration or calculus. Now, in the 13th century, Madhavacharya, yes, okay, I'll one by one, I'll talk about calculus. Now, Europeans tell us that it was Newton and Leibniz who had created or invented calculus. Just 2 months back, University of Manchester, they made a statement that yes, it is possible and possible that Newton had learned about calculus, or he must have been inspired to create calculus from the work of earlier Indian mathematicians, and especially the mathematicians of the Kerala school of mathematics. In the 13th century, Madhav, mathematician from Kerala school of mathematics, had created infinite series. Rather, what he did, summation of terms in geometric progression, but instead of some finite number of terms, instead of infinite such terms, and it is known as infinite series, or created power series to calculate values of sine and cosine. And that is the genesis of integral calculus. So the Kerala school of mathematics had developed calculus centuries before Europeans. Yeah, someone has asked that why can't it be put into a curriculum? Yeah, it should be there, but then the onus lies on the state boards and the ICSE board and the CBSE board or the HRD ministry. But Indian mathematicians and people who are proud about their heritage, they are putting in their individual efforts to kind of collate. If you look at my blog, my articles, and in the process of kind of collating the best material from ancient Indian mathematics, must have seen that Bhaskaracharya and Mahaviracharya, they put very interesting examples from day-to-day activities like cooking or medicine or a group of monkeys, a herd of elephants. Very interesting, beautiful examples. So I, on my part, am trying to create a course where I take the best of examples from all ancient Indian works, Ganit Kaumudi by Narayan Pandit, Bhaskaracharya's Leelavati, Brahma Sukh Siddhant by Brahmagupta, Ganit Sar Sangraha by Mahaviracharya, works of Aryabhat, works of Pingala. Here you can see on my blog I put how Pingala created the binary number system. So you can go through it. I'll be updating my blog and other websites with articles and research. Yeah, any other questions? Yeah, translations of Bhaskaracharya's Leelavati are available. Find them online or they are available in print. You can order them on Amazon, Flipkart, but you have to wait till the lockdown is open. Any other query? So I think so. We will end our session here. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you liked today's session. Looking forward to more such sessions. Have a great Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking this session. I hope we can interact with you more and learn more from you later.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.